Okay, so in working with Excel, at the beginning it was mostly putting information together. We had a bunch of data, we combined it, we put them in different places. We created some formulas, we did some of the functions. But in the end, the most powerful use of Excel is really summarizing the data, somehow getting all that data and making some sense out of it. In chapter 5, or tutorial 5, we dealt mostly with tables. We also used the pivot table, pivot charts, and it was really just summarizing the ability to summarize and sort data. In chapter 6, we're going to kind of continue that trend. So tutorial 6, I'm sorry. Tutorial 6, we're going to create worksheet groups. That is to say, we know that from the get-go, there are 3 sheets when we open up an Excel document. And you're not always going to have all the information in one sheet. You're going to have to separate it into multiple sheets. Well, there are going to be times that you're going to need to make references to those sheets, or you're going to need to combine those sheets so that that way whatever you apply to one sheet will automatically be applied to the rest of the sheets that are grouped together. You don't want to have to do the same thing 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, whichever number of worksheets you have. So in tutorial 6.1, which is the one we're going to be working on, we're going to create worksheet groups. We're going to format and edit multiple worksheets at once, which comes with grouping our worksheets. And we're going to have cell references to other worksheets. We're going to have something called 3D references, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. And finally, to create and print a worksheet group. Because normally when you go to print something, it's really only going to print the sheet that is highlighted at the time. So you need to group it if you're going to want to print multiple. So let's begin by launching Excel 2010. And we're going to look for the NM workbook in the Excel 6 tutorial folder. So let's go to File, and we're going to go to Open. We go to our Browse button, and well, there's Browse. So we're going to go, I happen to have mine again in my OneDrive, 2014, CIT 108, Student Files. We're working on tutorial 6, and this is the tutorial, and we need the NM document. So NM SLXS. Let's go ahead and open it. And as usual, we will go to our documentation sheet, enter ourselves as the author, and today's date. And let's go ahead and take a look at the other sheets. So these sheets have already been done for us. Here is information. Well, let's go ahead and lock in our data in here first. Okay, so quarter 1, here's a number of sales data that have been prepared for us. Quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. Now something interesting here. Look at all of these sheets. Notice that our headers all in this area are column A, so A6 through A12, and we have our column headings, which is B4 and 5 through E4 and 5. Notice that they're the same in all 3 of the sheets. So if we're going to make changes that are going to affect all the sheets at one time, this is probably a great time to be able to group the sheets so that whatever we do on one sheet is automatically done to all the other sheets. Let's group our worksheets together. We want to group together quarter 1 through quarter 4. And quite simply, we just make sure that quarter 1 is highlighted. Hold down the Shift key, click on quarter 4, and 2 things happen. First of all, since all of the worksheets are active, you notice the tabs are all white. On top of that, up in the title, you'll see that the nm.xlsx followed by group. That means that it is a group of worksheets that have been combined. So let's go ahead and enter a formula. So remember, when the sheets are grouped together, whatever you enter in sheet 1, which is quarter 1, it's going to be entered in all the other sheets. So let's begin. We're going to go to B13, and we want to sum the data that's in the range B6 through B12. So we know how to do that. This is pretty much a repeat of what we've done in the past. So we just click on auto sum and we verify that that is indeed the formula that we want. So hit enter, and now we can just go ahead and copy this formula across column C through E. So let's use our fill handle all the way across, and our data has been copied or has been sent to all the worksheets at the same time. While our sheets are still grouped together, let's go ahead and in cell A13, we're going to enter totals. And staying in the active cell, we want to increase the indentation of totals by, let's just say by 1. So here's totals. We're going to our indent. This is increase indent, so indented by 1. We're all set. So let's take a look here. So what we said is that everything we did on this worksheet is also being done in the other worksheets, quarter 2 through 4, because they were grouped together. Well, let's make sure. Quarter 2 is now the active worksheet. Quarter 3, quarter 4. So everything we've done to the first worksheet, which was the first highlighted worksheet, has also been done to the other 4 worksheets, or the other 3 worksheets. All right, let's go back to our quarter 1 worksheet, and we're going to bold the text in the non-adjacent range A1 through B2. So A1 through B2, and because it's a non-adjacent range, A6 through A13, we're going to hold down the control button now. Now remember, you don't hold down the control button during the highlighting of the first range, right? So no control button has been pushed when we highlighted A1 through B2, but now that we're going to highlight A6 through A13, now we hold down the control key, and then we go to A6 through A13. Keeping the control button down, we now highlight B4 through E5. So B4 through E5. And make that bold. Then we're also going to increase the width of column A to 24. Now we're going to merge and center each of the ranges. So we're going to merge and center range B1 through E1, B1 through E1, and we're going to merge and center at the same time B2 through E2. So hold down the control key. Actually, no, we want to merge and center these one at a time. So merge and center, and now B2 through E2, merge and center, B4 through C4, B4 through C4, merge and center, D4 through E4, merge and center, and now let's go ahead and center the text in B5 through E5. So B5 through E5, and we're going to center the text. let's apply the comma style number format with no decimal places to the range B6 through C13. So B6 through C13. B6 through C13. Apply the comma style. So we're going to go to our number area. There's our comma. Apply the comma style. With no decimal places. So we can simply decrease the decimal places. Now we could have gone to our number dialog box launcher and gone to a currency with no symbol and 0 decimal places. But we know how to use our ribbon, so we did it that way instead. And now we're going to apply, let's see, oh wait, we're not done. No changes visible because all the changes, numbers are less than 1,000. Okay, so yeah, nothing changed. The numbers are the same. And we're going to apply the accounting number format with no decimal places to the range D6 through E13. So D6 through E13. To this, we're going to apply the accounting number format. So click on a drop down arrow, accounting number format, and we want the values to appear with a $sign and no decimal places. So once again, we decrease our decimal places. Add a bottom border to the range B5 through E5. Okay, so B5 through E5. We're going to add a bottom border, but we also want to add a bottom border to B12 through E12. Hold down the control key, B12 through E12, and we simply go to our font area, and already the bottom border is chosen for us. So we click on the bottom border button, and then we click on cell A1 so we can see all of the changes that we made. Let's also take a look at all the other worksheets, and as we can see, all of the formatting that we did, because the sheets were grouped, we were able to perform that formatting to all the sheets at the same time. Now when we want to go back to working to independent sheets, we have to ungroup our worksheets. There's really 2 ways to do that. We can right mouse click and ungroup sheets, or by simply clicking on a sheet that is not grouped with the rest of the other worksheets. So as you can see, the group disappeared from our title, and now our sheets are independent of each other. Now we're going to make a copy of the quarter 1 worksheet, and there's really a couple of ways to do this. The long way is to right click, move or copy, and then create a copy, and etc., etc. An easier way to make a copy is to take our mouse, hold down the control key, click on quarter 1, and then click and drag to the left of document and then drop it. Notice that a copy of quarter 1 is made to the left of documentation. And we're going to use this worksheet, this new copied one, as a summary worksheet for all the other worksheets. So let's change the name of this worksheet to summary. Continue to make sure that summary is indeed the active sheet. And in cell A2, enter 2013. In cell B2, we're gonna change the title to Theme park ticket sales slash total. Because we're going to be putting in summary values, we want to delete all the data that's in the range B6 through E12. So we're going to highlight that and press the delete key on our keyboard. Notice that the formatting remains. We just simply cleared the contents of that range. Now we want this value, the value in A2 from the summary sheet, to show up in all of the A2s in all of the quarter sheets themselves. And the way we do that is quite simple. We could just put the formula in equals and then click on summary and then click on A2 and do it 4 different times. But we learned how to do everything in one shot. So we're going to hold down the shift key, highlight through worksheet quarter 4. Our active cell is A2. Every formula begins with equal, so we type equal, we click on summary, and then we click on 2013. Notice in the formula bar it tells us exactly what's happening. Equals, the summary sheet, and the name of the sheet is followed by an exclamation point and then the cell. Now that we know that the formula is in, we either hit enter or on the keyboard, or we click on the enter button. So let's look at quarter 1, 2013, quarter 2, A2. All of the worksheets have the information that we wanted. Let's make a change to our cell in summary 2. Now notice, as soon as our summary worksheet becomes active, all of our other worksheets were ungrouped. Notice the grouped is gone from the title. So in cell A2, we're going to put in fiscal year. So we're going to make it a little bit more descriptive. Fiscal year 2013. Lock in our data, and if we go through all of our other worksheets, everything propagated through to 2013. Now let's bring some summary values from all of our sheets. If we wanted to bring a total number of adult tickets sold from quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, we simply go to our summary sheet. We're in our summary sheet, equals. We can go to quarter 1, click on B6, plus quarter 2, click on B6, plus. You can see how this can become quite tedious, and easily we can make a mistake. So we have our answer, 116, but that's just far too complicated. The easiest way would be to simply start with our equal sign, and we know we want to add. We want the sum of cell B6 of all 4 of these worksheets. So type sum, open our parentheses, click on quarter. Let's hold down our shift key to highlight all 4 of the worksheets. Click on cell B6 because those are the cells that we want the summary to go to. Hit enter, and let's look at our formula. So we have the sum of the range quarter 1 through quarter 4, cell B6, 116. Now why is it called 3D? Imagine that these worksheets are piled one in front of the other. So you have laid quarter 1 at the bottom, quarter 3 above that, quarter 2 above that, and quarter 1 above that. Separate each one of those by about an inch, and all of the cells line up exactly. So not only do you have an X and Y axis, so here's your X axis, your Y axis, but now you're going deep into the other worksheets. So that's why they call that a 3D reference. Let's do it again. So we want the number of tickets sold for children equals sum, open with parentheses, quarter 1, hold down the shift key, quarter 4, and click on cell C6. Hit the enter key. Let's do it again. Equals sum, open parentheses, quarter 1, hold down the shift key, quarter 4, click on adults, enter. Let's do it one more time for practice. Quarter 1, hold down the shift key, quarter 4, and hit enter. Notice that, well, this time I got an error. I think I hit the wrong key accidentally. So let's do this again. Equals sum, open parentheses, quarter 1, hold down the shift key, quarter 4, click on that, hit enter. So we don't want to do this another whatever 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 1, 2, 3, 4, another 24 times. But we can copy 3D references. Now, because we want our border, our formatting to remain, we're going to fill without formatting. That way our border at the bottom of our range of cells still shows up. So let's click on cell A2 just so we can see that our changes did not affect our border. One nice thing about 3D references is that, like other references, as soon as something changes in the source, it automatically propagates to the summary worksheet. If you recall from our pivot table, we manually have to refresh the information if anything changes in our source data. But here, for example, let's just go to quarter 1, and let's just say that the ticket sales for, well, first let's look at our summary, make sure that we see what's going to change. In our Orlando Aquarium, the number 78. So let's go to quarter 1, we'll worksheet quarter 1, and in cell B9, let's change that 15 to 17. When we look at our summary sheet, it went from 78 to 80. So the propagation happens immediately because it's simply copying the source. It's all summarizing immediately. It's not any kind of pivot table like references. So as I said at the beginning of the lecture, when we go to print, notice right now that the only active sheet is a summary sheet. So if we were to go to print, go to our backstage view, go to print, it's 1 of 1. So it's only looking at the summary sheet. But what if we wanted to print out quarters 1 through 4? Or we wanted to actually print out all of them, or only some of them? Well, what we can do is we can group, let's just say, for example, summary documentation, quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3. We could hold down our control key, click on quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4, so we know which ones are being grouped together. Let's go to our page layout because we want this shown a certain way. Let's look at our page setup dialog box launcher. And the first thing we're going to change is going to be the margins. So in the margins, we want everything centered in our paper, in our printed paper. So center the page horizontally. And let's go to our header and footer area. And we're going to customize our header. And in the center section of our header, we want to insert the sheet name. So whatever the name of the sheet is. And if we don't know what that is, we can hold the mouse over the individual icon. So there it is. So to insert the sheet name, we click on the insert sheet name. So we get the values and tab. And we're going to set up our custom footer. So we're going to click OK here. And let's go to custom footer. And in the footer, in the left section of our footer, we want to insert the date. So we go to our insert date button, click OK. And now that the changes have been made, we're going to click OK. Actually, what we wanted to do was go to print preview after the changes were made. So notice that because we have 5 of the worksheets grouped together, when we go to our print preview, all of our worksheets are going to be printed. And notice too that the header has the name of the sheet, and at the bottom we've got the date. Let's switch back to, remember we don't print in this class, we're green. So let's go back to home, and by clicking on documentation, which is the only sheet that's not part of our group worksheets, it automatically ungroups our sheets, and that is pretty much the lecture for today. So we learned how to group worksheets, we learned about highlighting adjacent worksheets, right? Hold on the shift key. And we learned about 3D references. Remember, you have to remember that for 3D references to work, all of the cells have to line up the same to each individual sheet. And the way we can make sure we do that is simply by grouping our worksheets and creating or formatting our worksheets from the beginning. And that is pretty much, we learn how to print multiple worksheets, not just the highlighted worksheet. And that is it for today's lecture. I will see you in class.